Aglorev Magazine Live is brought to you by
Daroga Leilani's Energy Exchange. Express yourself without saying a word.
and
Aglorev Entertainment. Mind, body, soul, energy healing.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a place for laughter, stars and surprise. I've got a little something for everyone. First, we're going to see what the stars and planets have brewing for us. With an astrology forecast, trust me, it's more accurate than your last date's excuses. Then we'll dive into the latest trending topic, Selena and Benny. Is there trouble in paradise? And for all the music lovers, I'll share unfiltered opinions of the latest season of American Idol, giving my notes on their notes. Finally, brace yourself for a surprise comedian who will have you laughing harder than a cut video at 2 a.m. Any guesses? Let's find out. Maybe this is one of the most astrologically straightforward times of the year so far. First, we are in the middle of Taurus season. Taurus keeps things pretty close to reality, focuses on the tangible, the necessary, the foundational things that have direct value. Keep things simple. Try not to get caught up in drama. Focus your energy on things that actually matter to you. Your health, your wealth, your security. The moon started this week in Leo, then Virgo. This puts us in the driver's seat emotionally. We're able to really take control of our emotions and use them to be productive, to be fully committed to our responsibilities and long-term goals. Again, don't get caught up in the external drama. I cannot stress this enough. This idea keeps popping up, not only with Taurus, not only with the Leo-Virgo moon, but also with Mars being in Leo, in opposition to Pluto in Aquarius. This is all about directing our physical energy towards that which validates our identity, individuality, and purpose in the face of an unpredictable, constantly transforming world. That's Pluto in Aquarius. Aquarius representing the collective, the systems that govern us, and that which we depend on, the internet, social media, the news, and Pluto representing the constant change, chaos, destruction, unpredictability, massive upswings, up, down and sideways. All the other planets are basically telling us to ignore the outside world as much as possible, except for that which relates to us, our health, our money, our goals, our responsibilities, and our immediate security. Another important aspect is Jupiter in Gemini, forming a sextile with Mercury in Aries. This complicates things a bit, because whilst the other planets have us focused on the self, this aspect opens up our lines of communication and accelerates the amount of contact we have with others. As far as conversations, collaborations, negotiations, transactions, consultations, and basically anything that involves an exchange of information between two entities or back and forth, involving words, data, information, knowledge. Gemini also dealing with teaching and learning, the exchange of knowledge from teacher to student. Essentially, the universe is extra responsive to our inner focus, offering us an opportunity to advance our cause through contact with others, through potential relationships and partnerships. But remember, we're in the Saturn Pisces era, so this comes with the dark side of us having to be really wise and mature, as far as filtering the worthwhile interactions from the energy drainers and false leads. Just remember to keep your focus on what matters most to you. That will align your intuition with the right frequency to know what to avoid. But you have to engage with others. It's a balance of being within your individuality, whilst also understanding the need to interact and connect with the outside world in order to reach your long-term goals, whilst all contributing or giving back to the world around you. You might find that your relationships, power dynamics, and where you feel you may not be expressing yourself authentically at the forefront of conversation, or just at the front of your mind at this time, as Mercury moves through the final degrees of Aries before entering Taurus this weekend. It will pass by Chiron, and that opens up an opportunity to address or express any fears or wounds that you've been healing. Essentially, as Jupiter will be sextiling and amplifying this energy, let this be an empowering experience for you. And as we also have Pluto, which is going to be sextile Venus after Venus's meet up with Neptune, bringing a boost of passionate energy that can allow this deeper exploration and not just transform your relationships with others, but also with yourself. Are you in a situationship and don't know it? A situationship is a romantic relationship that lacks clear definition or commitment. It's characterized by emotional intimacy, spending time together, and often involves a physical and sexual component. However, partners won't define their relationship, place it in a category, or set clear boundaries. A situationship can cause uncertainty, anxiety, and confusion about the future of the relationship. A few signs that tell you that you are in a situationship and not a real relationship are that your relationship is not yet defined. You're in a romantic relationship without commitment. There is no consistency. The pair of you are seeing other people. There are no chats about your future together. Your connection is superficial with no deep emotional bond. Your connection is not evolving or progressing. Your partner tells you they don't want to get serious and expect the same from you. Your partner is emotionally unavailable. In a relationship, there is a clear commitment between the pair of you, and you are monogamous, or however you define your relationship to be. And there is defined as a relationship. Your partner makes a conscious effort to meet your needs. Sex is important in the relationship, but it's not the center of it. You make plans with the future in mind and considering each other. A situationship can help you learn what you want in a relationship and explore what you want from a partner, and develop your own communication skills. Women who do not see marriage as the endgame can still be relationship types. And although I believe a relationship is based off of its beginning or foundation, which is why it's important to get the foundation right, it is possible to turn a situationship into a relationship, if that is your desire. Feel out the vibes first. If the vibes pass the check, find some time to sit down and chat to them about your feelings. Start swapping late night hookups for outside date nights. Participate in activities together that do not include sex. Integrate them into your life and see if the energy is reciprocated. If it is not, then a break might be necessary, and you have to give conditions on the break. When you come back together after the break and they still cannot commit, you must be strong enough to let go. In some cases, they will return when they see that you are serious, and then it's up to you to decide. But in most cases, you're better off. You know what you are no longer willing to settle for, and you can pick a better situation, no ships, for yourself. Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco's relationship is apparently going strong. On Friday, May 2nd, the singer-actress shared an adorable photo of her fiancé on her Instagram stories. The post puts a befitting end to the ongoing cheating rumours that have swirled for some time now. In the photo, Benny Blanco is seen sitting on the floor. The record producer is seen playing with his little nephew. Benny and Selena's pet dog also makes an appearance in the frame. Benny recently came under fire for allegedly cheating on Selena with Selena's longtime friend and former assistant, Teresa Marie Mingus. It all started when an unverified TikTok video captured Benny and Teresa enjoying a dine-out session at an LA restaurant The videos sparked controversy with Selena's fans, speculating trouble in paradise for the pair. Others suggested that Benny and Teresa were planning a surprise for Selena. Adding fuel to the rumours, Selena has unfollowed her best friend on Instagram. Teresa, however, follows both Selena and Benny. Selena and Teresa were last seen at a birthday party on March 10th, 2025, in a bunch of photos posted by Teresa on Instagram. The duo posed for a fun group photo. Joining the two is their good friend, Anna Collins. The snap showed the three girls having the time of their lives. Neither Selena nor Benny have addressed the rumours so far. Teresa has also kept to silence on the matter. Previously, Benny opened up about his first kiss with Selena. The producer recalled the moment unfolded after they took a selfie on their second date. Benny, in a conversation with the Table Manners podcast, said, "I kissed her right away and her heart started beating so quickly and she started getting a rash on her face and she was so nervous." Selena Gomez and Benny Blanco started dating in 2023. The pair announced their engagement in December last year. From a matchmaker perspective, I hope that this does not become another example of why you should never date down as a woman. She upgrades him, but he devalues her. I will make a video on that how that energetically works later. But I wish them the best. President Trump's threat to impose tariffs on film imports to the US could risk retaliatory action in international markets, where American film studios make the bulk of their box office revenue. Studios are already reeling from the weakened box office following the pandemic. Tariffs could send the industry into a tailspin. The US is the top exporter of films globally by far, with export value running at 3 times imports, according to the Motion Picture Association. US movie studios typically drive the bulk of global box office sales. The majority of their revenue tends to come from distribution outside of the US, which is why any sort of retaliatory tariffs would be disastrous for Hollywood. The White House has not offered much clarity, leaving the industry confused as to exactly which films qualify as coming into our country that are produced in foreign lands. As Trump put it on Truth Social, there are no final decisions on film tariffs, but the administration is exploring all options to deliver it. President Trump's directive to safeguard our country's national and economic security whilst making Hollywood great again. White House spokesman Kush Desai told Axios. Another groundbreaking decision of the Trump administration, the Supreme Court allowed President Donald Trump to implement his ban on transgender people serving in the military. It will make its way through appeals court whilst deciding on its merit and then end up in the Supreme Court. If upheld, transgenders currently in the military will be asked to leave. Okay, so today the red flags we are focusing are going to be from Extracted. Extracted is a great premise where family members are given the power of your reality, your destiny, and your comfort, basically. So there are romantic relationships and there are familiar relationships, but the red flags are apparent and we're going to analyze those. There are 12 families. We're going to kind of go in the order of approximately when they were eliminated, if I get them right. The first one is Anthony. Anthony, good-looking lad, young, wanted to prove himself that he was an adult, father, former athlete, professional athlete. Mum looks like she was a model. Amazing looking family. He wanted to prove himself. He went out the first day. Anger problems, red flag. Threats, red flag. He had everything. His parents gave him everything, more than the other families were able to provide for their families, but he was ungrateful, and so they pushed the button and he went out whining. So yeah, he did not prove that he was a man. Hopefully things are going better for him. The next person out was Davina. That was a sweet one because her family did not want her to suffer, so that was beautiful. No red flags on that one because they did not have any selfishness of wanting to make her suffer to get the money, and they saw her limits. It was painful, but also she wasn't doing so well and they did not limit her, so that one was clean. Next we have Ashley, and that is the one that actually raises the most red flags, with some Andrew Tate vibes a bit. Yeah, for the first part, the fact that they could mirror each other's words. So the question is, do they have a bond so tight that they can mirror each other's words, or is he always lecturing her so she knows what his thoughts are going to be? Which is it? Which do you think it is, based on his reaction? I know what I would say, but yeah, I'll leave that up to you. He is in there with his father, and in the beginning Ashley says that she wanted to prove herself that she was tough enough to be in this family. That's already a red flag, that you have to prove that you're tough just to be part of the family. Is that really something that you want to constantly live up to? Another red flag. Okay, so the father exercised tough love with the son, which that is a father-child, that is a paternal relationship, which the guidelines and boundaries are a little bit different than a romantic relationship. So in some cases, tough love can work in a paternal relationship. However, tough love in a romantic relationship will turn it into a paternal relationship, which will then lead to resentment and build up of emotions that will eventually explode in some way, most likely unhealthy. The fact that he purposely punished her, he would not send her a stove because he felt she needed to learn, and she was obviously already suffering and in the suffering zone of health that of the standard that they had. He purposely made her suffer, and he was reluctant to push the button. He cried to push the button, which is why I say Andrew Tate vibes. He was willing to let her suffer to make that money. It seemed like he was only motivated. He wanted to, he had dollar signs in his eyes, and no matter what was going on, he wanted her to make that money for them. It seemed like that was the motivating factor, to be quite honest. It seemed like he was focused on her being in there for as long as possible. As long as she was still breathing and she had a pulse, he was getting that money. He was crying because he knew he wouldn't get that money and all the things that he had envisioned purchasing with that money. Yeah, Andrew Tate vibes. Yeah, I don't honestly see happiness if that relationship continues to go the way that they are, where he is punishing her for no reason to make her tough. Why are you making her tough? For what? So she can live with you? Is that why she needs to be tough? Seems like it. Sorry, Ashley. Then we have Rose. Didn't want to suffer. Love that. Another one that was balanced. Don't have red flags there. Then we have Ryan, which raises so many flags, but on the other side. This one was heartbreaking. So terribly heartbreaking. Ryan sacrificed and cared for his wife when she was ill, like hospital bedridden ill, like possible death ill. He nursed her back to health, gave up a lot of his freedoms and everything to make sure she was okay. She and his brother came to support him in this, and he had everything perfect. He put so much energy and work in building that camp and having food and making it waterproof, and he was in his Zen state of meditation. He had finally had some peace to himself, some time alone to himself, when he had given up so much so that he could care for her and nurse her back to health, he finally was in a place where he had something for himself. He was happy, he was thriving, he would have won even without any other benefit. And she could not be strong enough. Now, I don't know what was going on behind the scenes. Maybe in the edits we missed some things, that they were torturing her, or they were saying awful things, calling her names, telling her she couldn't read well. I don't know. Maybe they were bullying her. But this man gave up his life to nurse her back to health, and she could not be strong enough to let him have his time, his space, his moment to thrive, to shine on television. Do you know how rare of a moment this was for him? Do you know how rare of an opportunity this was? She just ripped that from him because they burned a letter. A letter he didn't really need to have, but she needed it. Selfish. And if that is a pattern of their relationship, of how she is always taking, yes, feminine energy means take, receive, 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 receive. That is the key. It means receive, not take. Receive, yes. But she is unhealthy balanced. She is taking, stifling, dulling his flame. For what? Because she couldn't tell him something he didn't need to hear, because he was thriving. It didn't matter. He would have overcome. Even after she pulled him out, he was gutted. He was barely in tears. He said he'd wanted to be out there. He didn't want to be around her. He probably was disgusted. He was like, I saved your life. My hope is that they have an all-star season and he can come back with his new girlfriend and possible best mate, because his brother was whack as well, because he was talking about some kids he had to get back to, and like, you signed up, you're gonna see them, it's less than a month, you're gonna see them again, come on, be there to support somebody. Where is the loyalty? Red flags. Okay, anyway, that one was heartbreaking. Ryan, I hope you get a chance to come back. I hope they have an all-star season again. Come back with your girlfriend and your best mate. Get some fresh new energy in there, because that they are stagnating you, they are stifling you, and I hope that you are able to get something of your own and you're able to thrive in it, because I support women, and that is who I knock back. But in this case, Ryan, I got your back. That was not a good thing, a healthy relationship thing that you were subjected to when she hit the extraction button because the letter got burned. That was not fair to you. You were thriving. You would have won. Anyway, then we have Robin, and that one I'm 50-50 on, because I do feel that she could have lasted longer. I feel that it was a selfish move on the daughter because she cannot live without her mother, codependency, but in a parental relationship, the lines are blurred. It's not in a romantic relationship, that would be a red flag, but in a parental relationship, we will give them that, because there seems to be a lot of trauma, possibly definitely associated with the father, but we do not know how deep it went. We only know about them talking about soccer, football and all that stuff, but there may be some other things that we don't know about, and so she needed protection from that. So I am 50-50 on that. Then we have Jacoby. He was a funny one. His family, okay, they were unapologetically selfish, and I want to say that is not necessarily a red flag, because some people need to be, because a lot of people take from them. So I'm going to say that is the team of 3 black men, and I would say they've probably had to encounter a lot of possibly negative interactions in their lives, of things being taken from them for no reason, or just because entitled people take from them. And I understand that they wanted to protect theirs. Jacob kind of had the wrong idea of being on television and wanting to entertain people. He was just kind of sleeping and just trying to make it through. So they didn't bless him with things, and so he expired. So that was gone. Now, as the final 4, there weren't really loads of red flags with them. Those were good families. Jake's family gave up, sacrificed a lot. it was unfortunate. He deserved to win, Jake, for merit and how well he did. I agree with Hayley winning. Her team were strategists, they were long-term thinkers overall, and also the final thing seemed to be rigged towards her skills, her being whitewater rafter, etc. So I don't know if that was planned or rigged, but yeah, in that and then she knew the 5-letter word, like it all just like fit so poetically. But that is also how the universe works, where things just align and they make sense and they fit and you don't question. So I would say Hayley is an alchemist, and green flags. Ryan, H, another sweetheart. There's something about Ryans. They're adorable in this show, and poor thing, I wish he could have gotten warm. It broke my heart when he was stranded in the water and got frostbite. He was the easiest to look at, so I'm glad he lasted as long as he did. And then there was Megan, who was just, poor thing, just made it through. But their story was nice, where the father helped her when she was paralysed and nursed her back to health. So that was a beautiful story there. But yeah, the main relationships were Ryan W and Ashley, the Andrew Tate vibe, and the emotional vampire. Yeah. So look out for these types, and know that just because you see it on television does not mean you have to endure it. So take care of you. So the main reason I decided to do an American Idol segment is because through the audition process I was a bit emotional about their decisions, but I started to get a little bit aligned with them as they got to the final 24. However, once they got to America's vote, I feel like they're missing that Simon Cowell element, because all they do is say positive things to all the contestants. So the American public does not have any idea what they're looking for. They just look for the best story, who makes them the most emotional. Because, to be honest, the top 10, Philo, you were robbed. You were undeniably robbed. Your final performance of I'm Not Going, is that the name of it? Well, anyway, that amazing. You were robbed. You should have been in the final 10, or in the top 10. And yeah, but you will be successful. It's in the stars, it's in the transits. I know this. I can guarantee. If you need an accurate reading, hit me up on my website. But Philo, you'll be fine. You did amazing. Your voice, great quality. Now, the person that did make it through, which I was very angry about, to be quite honest, which is why, but it did motivate me to do this segment, so some good things did come out of it. But it has been rectified. The person who I feel who Philo should have been their place. Since there were 3 that were eliminated, you take your guess of which of the 3 I think it was, but I'm just going to go through the final 10, but now 7. Yeah, is that right? Anyway, which was a little bit startling, this last voting, because the one who I coined to be in my top 3 was in the bottom 2. So that's, America's so wrong, and they really need someone to give a little bit of criticism on the voices. Now, we're going to start with Jamal. Jamal is amazing voice. He did forget the words, but even without that, the entertainment factor, those teeth, he had another baby, love the girl that he's a girl dad, we don't know how many times over, no judgment, but yes, he will have the money to provide for them, because he doesn't have to go back to being a physical ed teacher. It's in the transits, I know this already. He's going to have a career. He is one of my top 3 as well. John Foster, the Kendall, wow, his classic country tone, conversational tone, like the texture of his voice. He just needs a little bit more connection to the words. It's very technical at this point, He is very attractive, and yeah, he has potential if he improves to be in the finals. But right now, he's not in my top 3. Then there's Brianna Nix, who is still in there. She has a great voice, great presence. The thing is, her stage presence, she could work on a little bit, but because her voice is so great, it's kind of like Adele. The voice is so amazing that you just don't care that they're not that entertaining. So that's like the Brianna Nix. If she works on the stage presence, though, she will be in the top finals. Slater Nally. He needs to grow. He has a good temper in his voice. He lacks connection. It's kind of karaoke-ish. It might be his age. He needs some life experience, maybe. But in my opinion, he's probably going to be the next one to leave. Now, with that being said, about age, one of my top 3 who was in the bottom 2 was Matty Pruitt. Matty, there's something about Matty. The texture, the quality. She, like, you just feel you can just, like, open a metal can with her voice. Like, it just gives you chills every time. Like, even if you don't want to, it brings an emotion, and it doesn't necessarily have to be about what she's singing, but it just brings something to you. And somehow she was in the bottom 2, so we need to look at that. Let's see where that one goes. Hopefully it might be maybe her performance or song choices. Hopefully we can work at that one. Thunderstorm Artiste. He does have an excellent quality to his voice, but I do feel he needs to work on his stage presence. He is not memorable. When I see him, I do not 100% remember a performance that he's done that stands out. I'm like, oh, I think he's good. And then I see it and he reminds me. But nothing has been stick in your mind, stand out, and keep. Now for the ones that have been eliminated. Yeah. Kanan James Hill, 17. It's part of your age. Too many runs, too distracting. Nobody could focus on the message. Sorry to say. But you have a beautiful voice, and again, you will have a career. You don't have to go back. The stars say so. So it might actually be to your benefit, because now you can guide your career in a healthier way befitting your age. So we'll see where that goes. Colby Jordan. I think it was down to song choice. You are not picking the best songs to showcase your talents. Yeah, a little bit might be your image as well, but that is not my, I don't want to go into that. We're just dealing with the music for now. Then we have Josh King. Yeah, no eye contact. He had no eye contact. That was no connection. Karaoke-ish. Made up sayings and said like everybody says. It's just, I mean, and he talks about being alone. I mean, to be honest, I understand why. You know, when he was on the piano with that song, he lost a lot of his energy in the piano and drowned out. Like there's a way of being emotional with a song, and then there's a way of just drowning yourself out because the emotion just takes it. And he is the latter, unfortunately. And I cannot hold it back, but he is the one who I think should have been swapped the places with Philo. Philo, I wish you would have had one more day. Who knows if you would have lasted past this, but yeah, you were robbed. But now it has remedied, and now the finalists are the ones who should be there. Thank goodness Matty was saved. But yeah, apparently they're going very quickly each week, so we may only have a few episodes of this. But yeah, we'll see where it goes. But my top 3, well, I'll just tell you, Gemma and Maddie are in my top 3. I won't tell you who the final one is. But yeah, we'll leave a little room for exploration. But yeah, thank you for tuning in.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a treat for you. Please help me. Welcome in her internet comedic debut, Virolga Leilani.
You know, having an unusual name is like being a superhero. Except my only superpower is making people squint at my ID for way too long and stutter. I'll just go. And I always unwittingly create my own nemesis, as they too discover their own power of how many ways they can avoid saying my name. Hey, great braces. Side braid, tall girl. And that's from people I've known from years. Imagine when I walk into a Starbucks, it's a whole event. The barrister looks at me as if I'm speaking Morse code when I say my name. Some get angry. Do you have a nickname? You expect me to say all 3 syllables? By the time they finally call out, matcha latte for you? I've already forgotten what I ordered. Sure, don't spit in it. Don't get me started at introductions. It's like playing a game of telephone where the end result is never even close to what I started with. Hello, I'm Verolga. Nice to meet you. Verlonga, Vergola, Veronga, Beluga, Begiga, Veronica. Mary. That's where I've been called everything from an exotic dessert to music band. Hey, do you know Verolga? Now, what do they sing? I take requests, but for you, a small fee. But on the positive, I will never have to worry about anyone stealing my identity. Even if credit wasn't an issue.
And check out the latest from Aglorev Entertainment for all of your level up needs.